With the crystal therapy,
Yes.
I always kind of wondered, like, really, how does that work? I mean, a crystal seems almost inert in some ways, and then, and then a lot of times we collect crystals, so we have all kinds of different crystals, and we really don't know if we're doing damage or if we're crossing vibrations, or we don't know. I mean, what's the power in a crystal?
A crystal, like anything else that exists, has a frequency of vibration. The definition of a crystal scientifically also is that it has a molecular structure that is perfectly symmetrical. And therefore...
Right, it's a crystal lattice, right?
Yes.
In other words, the geometry is such that whatever's going through it is hitting that same geometry again and again and again.
So out of everything that you find on planet Earth, a crystal therefore has the most balanced intrinsic structure, and therefore it has the most balanced energy vibration. And each one of them has its particular frequency of vibration. So what happens is very similar to what happens in a hospital system, for example, when a baby is born jaundiced, which means that its liver is out of its normal energy vibration. And a lot of people will have come across this because lots of people say, yep, I had to have this, or my child had to have this. So when a baby is born jaundiced, they put this baby under a blue light. So a blue light is an energy in a particular frequency of vibration. And it can't even be any kind of blue. It's got to be a sort of an agapanthus kind of blue. So then what
does that mean, agapanthus?
Agapanthus is a flower, Richard. It's a sort of a bluey flower with a very bit of a sort of mauvey hint to it.
Because now you're thinking, I'm thinking like everyone's got a bad liver, especially me. And if I want to get that blue light, I'm going to sleep under it. Do you have to be nude, or what do you have to do?
No, you don't, because energy goes through my clothing.
Through your blankets and everything, huh?
It does. If I stand on the other side of this wall and I say, Richard, can you hear me? The vibration of the energy wobbles right through the wall and wobbles the three bones and your eardrum, etc., and you can hear. But coming back to what happens...
Let me just keep it going on the light now. Like, do I need a special... does it matter what makes the light, or is it just a blue filter that's going to give the rays to be the right frequency? I want to do this liver cure.
I'm not... well, there's a whole thing called light therapy. That's what it works on, okay? Because our chakras are a particular frequency which is represented as color. You know, our base chakra is given the color red, our brow chakra is given the color violet, and everything else in between. So my chakras are my rainbow, and my crown chakra is my sunshine. And so when all of my chakras are in balance, then they activate the white light of my crown chakra, and then I'm called an enlightened being. See?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So back to the crystals.
Coming back to the crystals. So what happens in a hospital system is that this blue light interacts with the vibration of the liver, which is out of balance. The blue light has a balanced energy frequency, so that then impacts on the erratic energy of the liver, and there is always, in a universal law apparently, that the balance and the power always goes from something that is in balance to something that is out of balance. So there is always a flow. Now, this is important also. You mentioned before, of overdosing or whatever it is. You cannot overdose, because when a liver is in its balance, or when anything else about me is in its balance, well, then I don't draw upon me more energy, because I can't get any more in balance than being in balance. Okay?
Right. That's really cool, because like a couple of things, you said that were really important. I mean, one is that energy always flows from the structured to the unstructured.
Yes.
And so then that kind of means the unstructured or chaos or chaotic has no power.
Yes.
But I mean, the structured part can fix the chaos. I don't know. Yes. Can the chaos mix up the structure? Maybe not.
Apparently something that is structured has more power than something that is not structured. So I think that is the healing process, where you introduce something that is in balance and therefore more powerful to something that's erratic. That's why a happy thought, okay, can help to dissipate the effects of a miserable and sad thought, because it has a more structured vibration. So that's how crystals work. A crystal has a very precise frequency of energy, which will resonate with different aspects, either physically or emotionally, because my thoughts are an energy pattern as well. And the important thing here is that they do not have to be focused specifically onto an area of imbalance, because they will connect with and resonate anything that ultimately has a similar pattern of energy. The two will resonate, and then if one of it is out of balance, there will be a flow of good positive energy to restore something to balance and functioning.
So do we have to know which crystal's which? I mean, can we get the wrong ones, or could we actually exacerbate some problems by having the wrong crystal, or what?
That's
Any crystal will work, or what?
That's what I was just saying before, which we can't exacerbate a problem, because my being takes what it needs in that sense. You cannot disturb the natural energy of my being if I'm already in balance by using a crystal. You can use, for example, a clear quartz crystal, which is called a master healer, because like the white light of the sun, it encompasses within its vibration all of the different colors of the spectrum. That's why if a clear quartz crystal, for example, has a little crack or imperfection in it, you can see the rainbow in the crystal. So therefore, a clear quartz crystal...
Can the crack kind of obstruct the flow, or, I mean, and you have to get pure crystals, or...?
A lot of people actually like working with crystals that exhibit this little rainbow, because the rainbow resonates with the rainbow that is my chakras. And a lot of crystal therapists actually only ever use with clear quartz crystals. And for what it's worth, for people who sit out there and say, oh, how could a crystal do all of these things? The magic ingredient in a computer, for example, it's called a silicon chip, and it's a tiny, tiny little sliver of clear quartz crystal. And you take the clear quartz crystal out of your computer, and you have it built exactly the same way, and you try to introduce any other substance on this planet, and it won't work, because your computer only works because of the specific scientific properties of a clear quartz crystal.
So we were saying if you focus on energy and so on, but I mean, a crystal is, okay, it's got a shape, but it's not a flashlight. It doesn't really does it focus, or you don't aim it, or, I mean, it's just longitudinal with the direction you want, or what's the deal?
Crystals have their basic frequency, okay, which depends on their molecular structure and their color. But you can also send out that frequency depending on the shape of the crystal. So anything that comes to a point, for example, is what you were just saying. It then becomes a very focused, direct flow of energy. If you have a crystal that's shaped like a ball, can you see that it then, the energy is more diffuse. So it's more suitable, say, for a room or a place, like a cluster as well.
So like, okay, so there's a crystal that has a point, and I want to get some energy in my heart.
Yes.
So then I got to get the point, and I don't just lay it down there. Do I have to hang it so that it's just kind of the point is touching my heart, or how do I?
You can have the point specifically touching your heart, okay, which is what I do sometimes in crystal therapy. So I have some quite large crystals, and I do exactly that. I put them on an aspect that is seemingly out of balance. So I can either feel that because of the erratic energy that you can actually feel, or sometimes I just follow my intuition. But what you can also do is, you know how I was saying something that is more rounded, sends its energy in a wider field. So a lot of people, what they actually do is they can do some yoga nidra and place, say, a little tumbled stone onto an appropriate chakra point, and then that field of balanced energy will interact with that particular chakra in exactly the same way as the blue light will interact and help to restore the balance for this jaundiced baby. If you then want to amplify that, you can take, say, 2 terminators. They're little crystals that have a point on them, and you can put one of the terminators in your dominant hand, which is for most people our right hand. Okay, so the energy tends to flow this way. I have a chakra point in the palm of my hand. I put the base of my terminator, my pointy crystal, into the palm of my hand. So can you see what then happens is it harnesses, because that's what a clear quartz crystal does. It harnesses, amplifies, transmits energy. So it takes the energy flow or pattern from my being, and then the point sends it out in a fairly focused way. And I can put another crystal into the other palm of my hand, but with the point in. So can you see how then what I have is a very basic crystal healing? I can get the energy moving by my 2 little terminators, and I can keep my energy balanced by putting an appropriate crystal onto my chakras or onto a pain or whatever it is. It's a very, very simple method.
So, I mean, I think this reminds me of what they call pranic healing.
Yes.
So this is pranic healing?
What's prana? Prana is energy.
Yeah. Okay. So then you're focusing it. So then when you put those crystals, then you also give, you speak and have people visualize this energy flowing like exactly how you want it, right?
Yes.
And the crystal is a support to that visualization.
It enhances. This is sort of what I was talking about before with the idea of if my sink is blocked, I can use different modalities.
Mm-hmm.
So I can watch my breath. I can place an appropriate crystal. I can have an intent. I have some nice relaxing music flowing. So I have a nice soothing balanced sound vibration that interacts with my being as well. I actually use, there's a nice CD that I tend to play, which is something like 100 voices all sounding Om. So it's this nice Om vibration that will go through the vibration of a person as well. So you can use all sorts of different modalities. You can use some aromatherapy to help it along as well.
Colors and we said those things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then I guess some chakras are supposedly outside of your body. And so you could place crystals even around your body, right?
Totally. My what we think of as my body is confined by my skin. Now my skin only keeps my body in. My skin doesn't keep the rest of
your
Monika
energy
in.
Yeah.
No. You know, I have my energy
just
field,
for your
which is my
plumbing.
aura.
That's just part of your plumbing, right?
Yes.
Like your membrane.
Yes. You know, I have my aura, and therefore a lot of people use crystals to be placed in the aura. We also have a system that's called gridding, where you can actually set up a particular field of vibration with strategically placed crystals so that your being then is in this energy field. That's called gridding. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things that I teach.
That's so fascinating.
It's like making a sacred space, okay? It's like making a sacred space and filling this sacred space with a particular vibration that is designed to restore balance to our optimum wellness.
Aha, so then my whole deal about expression, to get your energy going, you don't need to express, you can just have a few crystals.
Crystals most certainly are a very useful tool to use. And you will find that a lot of people will intuitively reach for a crystal that when we actually discuss, you know, where they're at, this is exactly the crystal that will be useful for their purpose. We have a sort of intuition and, you know, hands just go, that's the one for me. And you can have 50 rose quartz tumbled stones, and they will say, no, it's got to be that particular one.
Totally fascinating.
Yeah. Best example, Richard, is I had a lady once who rang and told me that her daughter was very sick. She actually had, talking about livers, she was born with congenital liver problems, and that they were working on keeping her alive long enough so that she was old enough to have a liver transplant. And she said, are there any crystals that will help this little 5-year-old girl along? And I said, yep, something sprang into my intuition, but I also did some research. My intuition, I felt, was the best one. I had a look at what I had sitting on my display, and nothing resonated. So I went to my stock and thought, yep, I'll take this one. And I had said to this lady, look, I'll be at the markets tomorrow. And she was going to bring the girl to pick up these crystals. So in order not to lose it, I actually put that crystal in the compartment with the other ones. It was a Mukai jasper, by the way. Now you'll see my stall at the Bali Festival. Okay, I've got lots of crystals. So here's this little tiny 5-year-old girl with her little nose just sitting on top of my table. And the mum had said to her, you can pick whatever it is out of here as long as it's not too expensive. So she's got her hands there and she's just looking backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And eventually she stopped. Her little fingers went ding, and I don't have to tell you what she picked out. She picked out the one crystal that I had put in there specifically for her. So that's I think illustrates my concept of resonance. You know, we sort of know on an intuitive level, yeah, I'm out of balance here somewhere, and this will help me regain my balance to some extent.
You get healed by wearing a diamond ring?
A diamond is a very specific energy for your crown chakra, but fortunately there's a lot of other energies that work just as well, like a clear quartz crystal. So, you know, the idea is that if a particular crystal is prohibitively expensive, we can usually find something else that will do the trick just as well. It's a bit like cooking, you know. There's lots of things that will provide me with the source of vitamin C, you know, and if I don't particularly like lemons, well, I can eat some broccoli and that'll give me some vitamin C instead, or I can go to the health food shop and get myself some vitamin C tablets. So, you know, introducing vitamin C into my system is a method of, well, what's my preferred method.